Oh yeah, chug everybody. Cheers. Get our cheers on, dude.
Oh, we're cheersing.
I'll wait for it. Bink.
Clink.
So you were telling me a story, and then we were talking about like, hey, how are we gonna do this stream today? So I wanted to save it for right now. We're gonna be live. I'm gonna pitch you the idea, and I want to hear from you guys in the audience, in the comments, in the chats, what you think about this too. Normally, I'll play B-roll or I'll display the products and I'll talk about how I see them fitting into a lifestyle of fitness, a healthy lifestyle where I would use them. And we usually have these two categories, functional and fun. So what I'm thinking, Chuck, is we'll have our conversation. We're going to talk about you becoming a champ I want to say this was like August or September at this point, Chuck. When was the tournament?
I don't even remember.
Right? It's like I just become a world champion. I forget. It doesn't matter. So we'll talk about your jiu-jitsu tournament, what it was like, that experience, and then also highlight products because we're talking about like, hey, what products do we have? What do we got? This is a sponsored stream. So I'm going to be highlighting it. I'm going to be playing B-roll. If we're having a great conversation, we'll stay in the conversation, but I think it'll be a fun game to talk about. For example, like the first product, I didn't even get this one in the mail and unboxed yet. They just put it in the carousel. It is a pickleball pad set. So you got 2 pickleball pads. And I think it's 4 balls with a carrying case. Let's start with this. Chuck, have you played pickleball before?
Listen, I have not played pickleball, but pickleball is becoming like one of the rapid sports, like for people within my age group. So it's like when I was never really even heard of pickleball, and Pina and I went to Barbados in July of this last year. Last year was last year.
Are you ready?
And what's that?
I'm sorry, I'm just reading the screen right now. It's getting me amped.
So we went to Barbados, and pickleball is everywhere in Barbados. And then when we came back from Barbados, we started seeing it everywhere here.
Yeah, so I got to be honest too, Chuck. I've never played this, and while I went to Canyon Ranch last year, pickleball had come up. Like that was like a really popular thing at Canyon Ranch, the Arizona campus or location. And apparently like people go hard in the paint with this game to the point Woody, one of our friends and clients, was telling me a story that his mom like blew out her Achilles going in super hard with this. Like she gets so competitive and the people get so competitive that like they were really, really putting it all on the line, diving out for things, like cutting hard. And so my point is, it seems like it can be a very physically active and potentially demanding good hand-eye coordination. So that gets me excited to play. But I'm like, after looking at it, why don't we just play tennis? Or what's interesting in this? Like, I feel like it's a mix between tennis and ping pong. Maybe
That's
it's
exactly
like
what it is. That's right? Exactly what it is. I feel like I would definitely be blowing my back out if I went to go play pickleball because the net is like so low to the ground. But I think my perception of it is not what the game actually is because a lot of people love it.
And yeah, I can see why, like, especially if you like tennis or just being able to like get up and get active. That's at the end of the day, Chuck, when I think of things like this, I don't care what it is, whether it's basketball. Speaking of basketball, Lena starts basketball in like 2 weeks. Did I tell you this?
You did not.
So Lena's going to be doing basketball, which here's the thing. I'm not saying I'm the most gifted athlete in the world, but growing up, I at least had decent hand-eye coordination. I don't know if it's like the Dalo gene or like Ashley's side of the family, because like her and her family are not very coordinated. Like they do not have hand-eye coordination down. They'll fall just walking, or like at least Ashley will. I can't speak for anyone else, but like somehow just walking can be a barrier and an obstacle in and of itself. But Lena and Tessa, dude, they try to catch a ball and it's like the most awkward. Like they have 2 forceps and they're trying to like clamp it together, kind of a deal.
Yeah.
I don't know. We'll see how it goes. Is kind of my point. I'm excited to see. But I want to let's go back, Chuck. I just started jumping right into products and going into all that. We're here to talk about your jiu-jitsu journey, and then I'll play the B-roll. We'll have videos popping up. So maybe give us some. We're gonna have to lay the foundation, even though you've been on before and people know you and they love you and they always request you to come back.
I don't know. I keep saying this stuff, but I don't know why.
The chat doesn't lie. But with that being said, I'm wondering, where do you want to start with, like, kind of trying to share your jiu-jitsu journey? Do you want to go to like how you originally found it, how you got back into it?
Know about this, Mike?
Yeah.
Yeah.
You know why? Because what I've seen in the chat, and not only right now, people are like kind of like still trickling in and whatnot, but from what I've seen, people want to know the story, like being able to understand the story from where we were to where we are. So, because that's relatable, right? Like not everyone.
Yeah, so I guess we could start back in the good old UFC Huntington gym days.
Yeah.
Where Mr. Mike Callow over there got me. I forgot how you did it. You came up to me one day and you're like, dude, you got to start amateur boxing. So you like guilted me or peer pressured me into amateur boxing.
Well,
yeah, you totally did that.
The way I recall it is
let's hear the way
boxing. But I want to, I don't want to just tell you how I recall. I want to know.
No, I want to hear how you recalled it. How, because I don't remember it.
Yeah, I'm not even 100% sure how the original conversation or piece got started. But from what I remember, we had our charity boxing. And I'm not 100% sure if it was just like we were relating it to setting goals and that alone, or I was just like, Chuck, obviously you'll do great in this. You should totally do this. That was like one of my thoughts for sure. But beyond that, I'm a little fuzzy on the details myself. And Chuck, do you want to hear a fun story?
Sure.
So 2 things. One, all of last week, when I opened up my Amazon chat on my desktop, it wasn't opening. But because you came on today, I think Amazon's like, you know what, we got to step our game up. I'm going to make sure all the Amazon stuff's working. But now, I think because I have like 17 tabs open, everything's like loading. So I know the camera's still picking it up. You can still see me. Mike, everything's still good on the streaming side, but on my end, like what I see is everything's just a frozen blank screen right now. So, wait, and it's back. Look, it heard me talk. It just is like, you know what? I got to step my game up. I don't know what you just did, Chuck, but you fixed it. Good job.
Look what I did.
So, yeah, so I recall it as like, hey, we have this boxing charity event. Go crush it. And then, but I'm even trying to think with jiu-jitsu because like Tony was the professor or jiu-jitsu, like coaching and teaching jiu-jitsu in Huntington. I mean, we would go to Comac, but I don't think did you go to Comac for jiu-jitsu too? Like, because every once in a while we go over to those guys and train with them, but I feel like you were mostly at Huntington for the jiu-jitsu.
I was at Huntington. So I was exclusive to Huntington because I was over at New Hyde Park for a while. And then Peanut got me to come over to Huntington. So you got me involved in boxing and we did the charity match, which unfortunately my opponent bailed on me, and then I had to fight our coach, which was amazing.
And you did great.
Yeah, I mean it was a great experience, and just that love of boxing and the sparring and okay, so I think we've told this story before, but like my first real-time experience with sparring. Nobody told me what was about to happen. So I get in the ring, I got my headgear on, I'm ready to go. And, we've done some sparring in the past, but not like full blown. This is going to be like an actual, the way it was kind of presented to me was, oh, you're going to spar Mike.
You're in good hands, right? You'll be safe.
Yeah. You're in good hands. You're going to spar Mike. It's just another sparring session. Needless to say, I didn't know that you and Coach had already conspired around this.
Listen.
Let me tell the story as I recall it.
Touche. That's fair.
So Coach is over in my corner. He's getting me ready. He's like, oh, yeah, you're going to spar Mike. I was like, okay, we've sparred before. Yeah, we're ready to go. He's like, yeah, okay, ready? Bell rings. Mike comes out and I immediately see a different type of Mike. And you were just like glazed over. Now, Mike had already had, I don't know, umpteen, actual fights under his belt in the ring, ready to go. So Mike came out like not usually when I spar, I'm like, see that smile? See that shit-eating grin smile he's got right now? That's the one that like when Mike's like ready to spar you, he's like smiling at you. Mike did not have that look. Do the look that you had, Mike.
I see. That's a hard thing to just on cue. You got to kind of like.
Ready, go. Yeah, that was the look. And I immediately knew I was in trouble.
You have to have no like enjoyable emotions.
Yeah,
That's
immediately knew
ultimately.
that I was in trouble, 100%. And literally, Mike just punches me directly in the nose, and my nose blows up, just blood everywhere. And I go over to the corner. Coach goes me over the corner. He's grabbing my nose closed. I have headgear on. It's like summertime in the gym, so there's no AC. And I immediately have a huge panic attack because I couldn't breathe. I like rip my headgear off. I run outside of the gym trying to get some air outside the gym. I come back, my white shirt has got just blood all over it.
All the
And my
yuppies.
wife was working out and looks at me and she goes, "What are you doing? Get back in the ring.
Thanks, Pina.
Quit messing around. Go spar." And then
Yeah.
my son at the time was probably 5.
Dude, this is so crazy. Melo is like almost Lena's age at this point.
Right. He looks at me and he goes, "Dad, you got to try harder."
Like, oh, thanks, dude.
Hey guys, thanks for all the awesome advice.
Like, that's a good idea.
Right. Just try harder. So
Why did
that
I
was my
think of that?
experience. So what do we got? What is this?
Ooh, this is a puzzle power block kind of gaming set. So what you have is you have 4 different colors that represent like different patterns, and you can select, like, this is really supposed to be for 8 and up or 6 and up, but Lena, you could tell, was like hyped about this game. She's like, I totally want to play this. And then Tessa will be in the video later. But you can basically select different types of modes and different games. You try and take, it's almost like Tetris, but like hands-on. You take the puzzle piece they give you. You have red, blue, yellow, and I think uh, green maybe. And each color will have its own different shape associated to it. And you got to like organize the puzzle pieces to match the shape perfectly to win
Rena's
that
excited
round.
about it. You can see the look on her face. She was all jazzed up about it.
Yeah, she's like, I love this. So yeah, so like Lena's 4 in this video. That's like, that was almost Melo.
Yeah, that was like almost mellow. He's like, try harder. So, needless to say, the boxing took its own kind of life, and we ended up, coaching other amateur fighters. We were doing a lot of stuff with boxing for a very long time.
Lots of
Now,
fun.
unfortunately, that gym had closed down. I continued my boxing journey until one glorious day of just sitting at my desk. The lights went off in my left eye. I just went blind in my left eye. Um, my retina detached, and unfortunately, I had to get the operation, which was a miserable operation. That thing's cool. It's got lights on it. Look at this thing.
Yeah, it's fun.
And they reattached my retina, but I never really got my vision back 100%. And they told me I had to stop boxing. So within that time period, I had a couple people influenced me to start jujitsu, and I had already had some experience with jujitsu in the past. Not really like diving into it to the extent where I was about to. But I had some experience with jujitsu, and I was like, you know what? I can't get punched in the face anymore. So let's do this. So I dove in feet first, and I thought because I was in great shape from boxing, or what I thought was great shape from boxing, I
Hey,
would
let's
be
be clear.
okay.
It was great shape. It's just a different type of conditioning, right?
It's a completely different type of conditioning, and to be honest with you, like there's always this, like whenever you go into like a new experience, there's always that hesitation of, do I want to do it?
Mhm.
So it's that hesitation of just putting your foot over the threshold to walk into a new spot, and then to get out of your comfort zone. So there was some hesitation there, but I had people that I had known on the mat. I had already known the coach. I had trained with the coach a couple of times before. He was a super nice guy. And I just dove in feet first. And then, my first experience with jujitsu, had super panic attacks, thought I was in great shape. I was winded. People were on top of me. I was just like, this is absolutely miserable. And, I kind of walked a very fine line path of my love for boxing and everything that I had experienced through boxing over what seemed to be like almost a decade of what we were doing.
Yeah.
And then having to transition that into jujitsu. So I started as like a fresh white belt with boxing experience, getting on the mat with limited jujitsu experience, on the mat with like world champions. And it was an interesting progression from my first experience. I just got my ass kicked for a long time. And, there was, right.
I said,
Go
"Oh
ahead.
yeah, I know this feeling. I
Yeah.
still feel this feeling."
You know, everybody's journey with their martial arts, whether it's yoga, whether it's jujitsu, whether it's boxing, whether it's Muay Thai, whether it's kickboxing, whatever it is. Everybody has like a team, their school, their clique, their team. There's camaraderie in the school. We went through a lot of different transitions because of the element and the situation that we were in. We had multiple gyms closed down. When I first started jujitsu, my instructor, Wais Sakizada,
Great name, by the way.
Wais Sakizada, he's got a great
love his name.
He left to start his own gym. So I started with him. I trained with him for about 6 months, fell in love with his method of teaching and the students. And then he decided to break off and start his own gym. Now, because of convenience, my kids were going to that gym. My wife was going to that gym. I took it upon myself to stay at that gym. Realistically, looking back at it, it would have been a much better move for me to follow Weiss to his other gym. But during that time period, there was friendships that were formed. There was bonds that were formed. Other coaches had come in, and I learned from other coaches as well. But the experience I had under Weiss and the students that I had under Weiss, much better than what I experienced under anybody else. I experienced, all different types of coaching where you get that very hard coach that was yelling at people that they can't even drink water during training, which is odd. To other coaches that were purposely holding students back for whatever reason, which again that's their call. They're the professors. So it took me about 1.5 years to get my blue belt, almost 2 years to get my blue belt. And then I was stuck at blue belt for, I want to say 3 years. Oh, yeah, he's on my Instagram account. So it was around Christmas time. I had suffered an injury. I blew my adductor out on my leg, and I was taking some time off.
Wait, I've learned to pause right there and not use fancy terms like this because no disrespect to anyone in the chat, but you guys already know what I'm gonna say. Like me and you, Chuck, we like to speak a certain way, and Gina and people in the chat have been like, "Hey, can you like use different verbiage?" So a muscle responsible for bringing our legs together. Do you think that's a better way to word it?
Yeah. So the adductor runs down the inside of your leg, and it's responsible for the contraction of when you want to bring your legs together, which is also very elemental for jiu-jitsu because when you're in closed guard, you have to wrap your legs around people, and that muscle is very important. I tore a portion of my adductor off of my left leg, and not to get into too much detail, there was a promotion ceremony that was about to come up. And I was like, you know what? I'm injured. I'm not going to go to the promotion ceremony. And I'll say this: if you're going to get into jiu-jitsu, your journey is your journey. It shouldn't be about belts. It should be about your journey. And to me, it wasn't about belts. It's never been about belts. It's just been about my journey. I love this thing that you're about to promo here. This camera, that's cool. So anyway. The instructor called me up and was like, dude, you got to come to the promotion ceremony and you have to wear your gi. You got to get dressed for it. I was like, dude, I'm injured. I got like a full blown knee brace on. You guys do your thing. I don't want to come to it. I'll be there because my kids were doing jiu-jitsu as well. So I'll be there to support my kids and I'll be there to support the team. I'm not going to wear my gi. I'm not going to go to the thing, dressed. And he insisted that I go to.
Trust me.
What's that?
So he's like, trust me.
He's like, no. He's like, I need you to be there and to be dressed in your gi and be part of the team. I'm like, after numerous times going back and forth with him, I was like, fine, you know what? I'll go. And it was being hosted by the corporate UFC gym. So we went to New Hyde Park. there was other schools there. So there was 3 other schools there. And every single person that came to that promotion ceremony was promoted with the exception of me. And after the promotion ceremony was over, the coach came up to me and was complaining to me about one of the other students who wasn't at the ceremony and how he was being disrespectful and what should he do. And I was like, listen, you're the coach. You need to handle it with him. And, I was giving him some guidance because he was asking me for it. The following Monday, we go into jiu-jitsu class, and he ends up promoting the guy that he was just complaining about.
What?
Yeah. So, I mean, these were all signs pointing to, I had to leave that school, So ultimately, I called him up out of respect for him, and I said, "Listen, I'm taking it upon myself. I'm going to be leaving. I'm going to be leaving the school. I'm going to go to a different school. I just wanted to give you, out of respect to you, a heads up that I'm going to be leaving. I just didn't want him to see on social media or something that Chuck left the school without any type of, reasoning why." And he asked me, he's like, "Can I ask you why?" He's like, "Is it because I didn't promote you?" I said, "Honestly, I was upset that you insisted that I went. Not that you didn't promote me. I wasn't upset that you didn't promote me because, again, my journey is my journey.
Right.
But I was upset that you insisted that I dressed for the promotion ceremony after I told you I was injured and I didn't want to, and you insisted that I do it. So it was embarrassing to me that there was 3 other schools there and that you promoted every single person, whether it was like their first month on the mat or not, and it's, whether they come to class or not, you promoted every single person with the exception of me after you insisted that I come." And his excuse that he gave me was, "Listen, I really wanted to promote you, but your next level is a purple belt." He goes, "And I need you to bring 3 other students that are not at your level to your level so I can promote all 4 of you at the same time." And I said, "That's not my responsibility. That's your responsibility as the instructor to do that."
Correct.
And, listen, I'm more than helpful to like bring people up and train with people, but you're the coach. You're the one that's supposed to be training people. I said, ultimately, the reason that I'm leaving is because you just complained to me about that one student, and that you just decided 2 days later after complaining to me that you're going to promote him. And he goes, "Yeah, I'm trying to get him to conform to my rules." I said, "So yeah, this is the reason why I'm leaving." So I decided to leave, and I went back to my original instructor, Weiss, and it took me about another 1.5 years of training under Weiss to get my purple belt. Which again, it's fine. My journey is my journey. So while training under Weiss during that time, he kept trying to tell me and insisting to me that I compete.
Mm-hmm.
And how it is in competition. It's a commitment. You're there all day long at these tournaments.
Yes.
All day long.
Yes.
And for a guy who, runs this company that I'm at, helps with lifestyle fitness, has 2 kids of his own and a wife and a family, to take a full day out of your weekend to go to a tournament and compete in a tournament, it's a big commitment. So.
And not even that. I'm curious, what's your thoughts even like in the preparation leading up to it, right? Because it's a commitment as you've been in fight camp for just the camp and the training and the build up, and beyond the time, the mental bandwidth. That's a commitment too, right? So like if you have that, you talk about like Legos or like a pie of how much energy do we have in that pie? Like how much can we allocate here? Like, sorry, I just, not to cut you off, I just got excited to that part of it. Cause like, it's not only like a 12-hour day, but it's like weeks prior and hours and hours and hours. Like,
yeah. And if you do it right, if you're doing it right, you'll have a great experience during the competition. It's like with any camp, anything you do, if you're working on a project at work, if you're doing it right and building up to that project, you'll crush your project.
Right.
So the camp was interesting because I definitely had to say to my wife, listen, I know I go to jujitsu X amount of times throughout the course of the week now. That's going to ramp up because of, going into this camp for this tournament. And I had to have those clear lines of communication with her prior to doing it and making the commitment. Because again, it's, making the commitment is not only making the commitment to yourself, it's also making a commitment to your coach and your training partners that are investing time in you. So I wanted to make sure that I could, follow through with that commitment. So I definitely had to ramp up and increase the amount of days I was going to jiu-jitsu and the amount of time that I was at jiu-jitsu, which was interesting. And to be honest with you, the way Weiss kind of molded our camp around, it got me so comfortable that when I went into the competition, I was completely confident in what I was doing. There was, the amount of training that we did and the preparation that we did in the heat, in the summertime, because I just looked it up, and the competition was in the end of August. It was different. I mean,
there we go.
Yeah. So like, there was days that we were training and then getting Shark Tanked by multiple people for like 10, 15 minutes at a rip.
Pause. So no one's going to know what Shark Tanking is from what I've learned, even though we use it like free range, like that's a common term. Yeah. Let's take this as an opportunity. And also some questions are coming in. Chris is saying, hey, in the chat, kind of asking some questions about maybe some more details around like, what is jiu-jitsu? Like what the grappling nature of it. And so we don't have to go into the full detail and breakdown, but let's take this to break down the I'm curious your thoughts when you think of it in like a fundamental level. What do you think the intention of jiu-jitsu is to you from your experience? Like what, if you could, does that make sense? Like is how
I mean, it's obviously a form of martial arts or self-defense. Listen, to me, the way I can describe it is in a street fight, like I would say probably 80% of street fights end up on the ground, right? Everybody ends up on the ground at some point in time. You're ending up on the ground. Jiu-jitsu is a form of defense where you can defend an attacker off of your back, and then ultimately you'd be able to end up on top of that person, and then either control that person with a choke, or control that person with a joint manipulation. Whether it's an arm, whether it's a leg, whatever it is, you want to control the situation that you're in. So if you do end up in a street fight and you do end up on your back, you have to know how to defend yourself off of your back. But ultimately, you would like to be able to reverse that, end up on top of the person, and to be able to either A, control the person, or B, end the situation with either, submitting the person with a choke or a joint manipulation. That's my definition of what jiu-jitsu is. Now, that's more of a fighter's definition of what jiu-jitsu is. The hobbyist definition of what jiu-jitsu is to be able to go in and have a human chess match with somebody and not only physically train your body, but also mentally train your body, because with jiu-jitsu, you have to think multiple steps ahead. So it's a form of both physical and mental training.
Great breakdown, by the way, Chuck. So I appreciate that clarity on that. And then Chris is saying, awesome. I guess the piggyback to that is, what is your favorite part of any martial arts in general, whether it's boxing, whether it's jiu-jitsu, wrestling, whatever it is, if you had to pick a favorite part, and then a tip for someone potentially interested in getting started?
So like my favorite part of it is just the discipline and commitment that goes into it. The structure and the discipline that goes into it is really what my favorite part of it is. You go into a gym and you buy a gym membership and you go in and you lift weights or you do some cardio and then you leave. Something like a martial art like jiu-jitsu, you go in and there's a structure, there's a plan. You have to learn multiple layers of the sport to understand the sport, from just being able to go in and learn what a guard is, to then being able to learn how to take that guard and work it into a sweep, and then take that sweep and then work it into a submission. So there's multiple layers and what we call chaining things together. So then, once you learn the guard and then the sweep and then the submission, you then learn how to then chain that submission. If the first submission doesn't work, chain that into another type of submission. So, and then ultimately be able to win the match. That's what I love about it the most, is the progression that goes into it and the fact that you're constantly learning all the time. Even when you become like a black belt in jujitsu, you're still learning. There's stuff to constantly learn. It's an ever evolving sport. So it's not like you can just ultimately become you'll be good at it. You know, I mean, ultimately, the more you train, the better you'll be at it. But
Sure.
even as a black belt, you'll always be learning.
Yeah, and that's to your point, Chuck. I think the ability and the opportunity to also invite going again, like the first part we talked about, like pickleball, right? Is picking something that allows you to have a stimulating activity that doesn't necessarily feel as forced at times. And like, don't get me wrong, I don't know about you, Chuck, but there's definitely days when, especially if competition's ahead, or I don't know, life can get crazy where you like, but this isn't just jujitsu. I think this is just physical activity in general. I'm like, I got to force myself to show up today. Some days
Yeah.
are easier and harder than others, but I think the overall experience of it, when you have a like mentally engaging component, like not that lifting weights isn't great, not engaging, but it's like, you don't have to process a lot while you're doing it. You're just like focusing maybe technically, but in jujitsu, boxing, any martial art, really, you have like, again, human chess. There's these dynamics at play.
Right.
Again, to your point, chaining things. So that's a perfect segue. Speaking of chaining things and being able to apply it, especially in a live scenario. It's one thing when you're drilling, right? It's one thing to apply a technique, a drill, whatever, whether you're doing it at home, because I've, especially as technology has grown, we've seen a lot more popularity in the like online university things, like access, whether it's Gracie University or 10th Planet has like a video library, or, you know, BJJ Fanatics has its online thing, and all these courses. And while people are like using more of that stuff to study, it's essential to not only drill, but then also when you go live, and then live in the gym. I'm curious your thoughts, Chuck, is also different than live in competition from my experience of it. So that's like the segue I want to make into going back to competition for you. You've built up this kind of preparation, right? You talked about how I had you guys prepare with Shark Tanks, with now going back into that term. Let's talk about what Shark Tank is first, how that applies into your training, and then applying it in live competition.
Yeah. So Shark Tank, how can we describe Shark Tank? Shark Tank is, you know, it usually happens after your full day of training, whether you're doing drills and then you go live for a little while. As soon as you're exhausted, what'll happen is the coach will have you go down or stand up or whatever it is. You start, and then ultimately, what's going to happen is every student is going to pretty much one by one come in and attempt to break you. So usually, like I'll start off and he'll be like, Chuck, you're on your back, you're down. Everybody is going to either try to pass his guard, submit him, whatever it is, constantly go. So if somebody passes me, they win, next person comes in. And then like if I submit that person, next person comes in. And it's constantly going one after another. So you're constantly getting a fresh person who's not taxed, not breathing heavy. A fresh person is constantly attacking you for either 10 or 15 minutes straight, nonstop. And then after 10 or 15 minutes, you're exhausted. And then guess what happens again?
And you get to
restart, do it again. So there was multiple times where we were doing like back-to-back Shark Tanks, and everybody is fresh attacking you, and you're learning how to deal with that exhaustion, that taxing of your cardiovascular system. So that, you know, you're in the heat, you're sweating. There's fresh people coming at you, so you have to learn how to deal with it. So then you walk into competition, you know, and this is how you chain it together. You know, you walk into a competition and you're both fresh, right? You and your competitor, you're both fresh, but ultimately, that training that you put in may not be the same amount of training that your competitor put in. And this ultimately leads to any type of competition. The best person wins. Depends on that level of commitment and that level of training that you put in. Ultimately the better person will end up winning that competition. So in my tournament that we did, I did the IBJJF Open in New Haven in August, and I ended up having. So here's the funny part about IBJJF is they don't care about big guys.
They're like, yeah, you're on your own.
So, and what do I mean by that? Like I'm a little bit of a bigger guy. I'm 228 pounds as of the other day. Their weight divisions is pretty much if you're over 210 pounds, it's fair game for everybody. So you can be 210 pounds or you can be 400 pounds. It's called
It's the same group.
ultra heavyweight division. So that's what you're in. So I was in the ultra heavyweight division and I had some bigger guys in my division. One guy was about 300 pounds. The other guy was about 6'8", skinny guy, but he was 6'8". I'm 5'9".
It's
So
a long range, you know what I mean? Or a lot of frame. I'm sure he was working his guard.
Yeah, and like he when he took me down, he did a leg trip on me, and his legs were so long, I didn't even see it coming.
Yeah.
So you know, I had great experience with both. I ended up winning both matches. The first match I won by submission. The second match I won on points. But both matches, it was a great experience. It was a great experience to compete again because the way Weiss like I said, the way he lined up the camp and the way that he molded that training camp around me, I was very confident going into it, and it showed in the matches.
Yeah, and rightfully so. And here's the other thing too. It's not only how the coach designs the training, is like you have to ultimately show up. And the one thing I know about you from our experience in like regular training, whether it's boxing or lifting or programs or whatever, and just in every capacity of life, you're going to show up, right? So that's like, I think why every single coach I think that's ever worked with you from my experience will reiterate the same thing and are excited because you show up and you like show up at your best no matter what. And also like communicate. So anyways, without that, also Chuck, I want to pause really quick because I'm doing this blood pressure cuff video and I want you guys to know the blood pressure you're going to see here is elevated. And it's elevated because if you notice, I'm flexing my arm right now. I'm holding the actual device with the arm that I have the cuff on because I wasn't really thinking. I was like talking to you guys. And then I switch it in the other hand. But you're going to see like 140 over like 100 or something. It's going to be like extremely high, so don't judge me. And then I do an actual updated blood pressure cuff, and I took a picture. It was like normal. It was like 117 over 72.
So basically, you're just setting us up to see your high blood pressure right now?
Yeah, check this out. It's 137 over
190. Like, that doesn't look right.
Yeah. You see my face, like what I'm thinking?
You're that didn't look right at all.
Yeah, and when I say that, I'm saying this right now. I'm like, and it looks like this is not normal.
This is not right.
Yeah, but it was actually just giving an accurate read. All right, so yeah, 137 over 96 with like a 78 resting heart rate,
Look
which is like
tight you have the cuff on. Did you go back? Go back. Look how tight you have the cuff on too.
Yeah, that too. But,
look at that.
Yeah, I was kind of walking through it, and I realized I wasn't fully paying attention as if I were putting it on someone or even putting it on myself normally.
Did you put the child's cuff on? Is that the child's cuff that you have on your arm?
I'm just so jacked, Chuck. After doing our Armageddon workout and doing your 8-week to shred program, that's part of our 12-week body recomp program, guys, by the way. And by the way, look at that. Right under Chuck, I put our link tree so you can get access to our program. We still have, Chuck, do you know that we're giving away $2,000, by the way, to one lucky winner? Amazon, you're getting $2,000 Amazon gift card on November 30th. If we have 2,000 followers, if we don't have 2,000 followers by then, we're going to give away a $100 gift card. And then we'll keep waiting until we get to 2,000 followers on this channel. And then we're going to give away a $2,000 Amazon gift card as a thank you to you guys. And then we're going to do that every, I think, year with our sponsors.
Awesome. That'll come in handy for somebody for the holidays. So let's make sure we get 2,000 followers on there.
Yeah, let's actually, if you guys want a live report, Chris, I see your questions in the chat. I'm going to get to them. We're at 1,418 right now. So we're about 500 away. So when I started this I want to say back in July, right before you did it, we were at like 500 or 600 followers. So we've gotten almost 1,000 followers since announcing and launching this. So we're getting right towards the end, guys. I know we got this. We got the home push. And we got some really big people we added to it as well. And then Chris is asking, So here's the thing, Chris. Chuck lives in New York, so he wouldn't be able to train with you like in person, or you wouldn't be able to see his school because I believe you're in the Midwest somewhere, if I remember correctly. But I will.
However, my coach does also do online videos.
Does he?
He does.
So how can we connect these two?
So let me look at his thing. If you go to my school is his school is Sucker Free Jiu-Jitsu.
I'm gonna pull up the website and I'll drop it in.
And I know he has, I forgot the name of the thing where he does, I think it's a Patreon. He does, if you look up Sucker Free or Weiss Zakizada, he does online courses.
Boom. I just dropped the link here, guys, in the chat and also in the comments. It's going to load. And also, Furman, thank you for the follow. Speaking of follow, whenever I see a new follower, I always like to show you guys the giveaway. So while we're doing this, Chuck, I'll load that.
I like giveaways.
Hold on. Bam. So I'm going to show you guys. Check this out. This is how you're going to enter the giveaway. So right below Chuck and I, you see our link tree. So if you guys want to work with us on the body recomp side of the things, you go to Transform Your Health here. We'll have an application. You'll get on a call with me, and we'll talk about that. But then you're going to click right here, LOF $2,000 gift card giveaway. Bada bing, bada boom. This is the team of influencers we have here, a part of the giveaway. And you're going to put your name, your email in, which I put right here. Don't worry, I'm not actually entered, guys, so you don't have anything to worry about. And then you're going to make sure you are following on all these Amazon channels. So all you got to do is click on it, boom, open it up, hit follow. We will be able to verify. We're tracking this data. So if you do not follow on all these accounts, you're going to be DQ'd from the giveaway. So in order to be entered, name, email, and then follow on Amazon, all the streamers we have here. We have 4 different accounts. Simple. And for $2,000, you guys should be able to take that step. And yeah,
I just put Weiss's link tree in there as well. So he's got his online platform in his link tree as well. So Mike, if you go to the private chat, because it doesn't let me put anything in the comments. If you go to our little, how dare that? So I know Chris had asked another question regarding like, what was it? How would you approach like wanting to go into?
Yeah, so imagine, you haven't, like Chris hasn't gotten started in jiu-jitsu, and a lot of our audience, I'm going to speculate, hasn't started their martial arts journey yet or have been thinking about it. What would be, because it can be intimidating. Like if I go back and I think about this, because I haven't had a first in martial arts in quite some time as far as like, trying a new discipline yet or going into a gym. I haven't walked into a new gym in over 5 years. Like I've been at Rogue now in North Carolina for 5 years. And then before that, I went to Thailand. I was just talking actually to Justin, one of our coaches and trainers. He's going to Thailand next Tuesday. So
and I'm sure he's like Justin, when he goes to Thailand, he's going to experience the same stuff.
Yes, that's it. So that's what we were talking about. So like we went over our like SOPs for the week, going over like client stuff, all that fun, all those good things. But then we were talking about, he's like, dude, I'm honestly nervous a little bit going into a new gym, like going to a new country. Dude, he's never left the United States before. He's never even left North Carolina. I mean, he's been to like South Carolina and Tennessee for fights, but he's never left like North Carolina. You know what I mean? Like this is
just think how he feels going to a new country, let alone like say Chris, who I've never met before. I don't even know where Chris is.
He's in the Midwest somewhere. I forgot exactly.
In the Midwest. He knows his area. He knows his town. So Chris, my suggestion to you would be, definitely go on Google and search, jiu-jitsu schools in your area. And then from there, just call the schools and find out. Usually they have like a drop fee where you can just go in and try a class for the day, and keep an open mind. And, as you go in and keep an open mind, just clear communication with the coaches and the people that you're training with. Like, I've never done this before, I've never experienced, I've never done jiu-jitsu before. Tell the coach, tell the people that you're training with that you've never done it before, and keep an open mind and get a feel for the school, get a feel for the students, get a feel for the instructor. There's Weiss's school. And
look at that fresh look.
Yeah, that's our school.
That's clean, man. So I just wanted to like.
He's going over everything. So as you walk into the school, just get a feel for the school, get a feel for the instructor. get a feel for the students. And if, you get a good feeling about it, maybe sign up for a month, ask if you could sign up for a month to try it. If you don't get a good feeling from the time you walked into the place, you don't get a good feeling for the instructor, you're met with some hostility from the people that are there training, then that's not the place for you. You always have to be mindful of like toxic environments.
Got it.
Unfortunately, in any gym, you can experience toxic environments. It's not just throughout the jiu-jitsu community, it's in any gym. So just be aware of toxic environments. Our school and what Weiss does a really good job at is kind of policing the members that come to the gym. And he likes to have an environment that's very open and friendly to anybody who wants to come in. You have to be a good person. You have to know how to treat people. You have to know how to roll with people. You have to know how to talk with people. You have to be respectful of everybody and make sure that it's a comfortable environment for everybody to train. So he's very mindful of that. And you got to make sure that your coach is also very mindful of that.
Yeah, I think that's a great breakdown and really a step-by-step how to approach it. So, yeah, Chris says thanks. And he says also he's in Oklahoma, so you can let him know that. Yeah, so and also, Chris, I know you've texted me before because Chris actually reached out to join on kickoff. So we've had conversations. So, Chris, I'll also follow up with you too off the live stream, so we can go over more details that maybe a little more personal. I don't want to talk about on a live stream, and I'm sure you don't want just public information out there. And obviously, guys, I love doing the Q&A. So whatever you guys feel comfortable with asking questions, drop them in the chat, drop them in the comments. So now let's fast forward. So we got through training, we got through preparation, we got through not only the event itself, but now so that's August. From August to now, fill us in on the difference, because you've had some really exciting. So you not only win, then what happens?
So, I won, again, I was purple belt for maybe a year and a half. I was at purple belt. I win gold, crush both matches, show up to the gym, and within 2 or 3 days after the match, maybe it was a week after the match, get promoted to brown belt, which was completely unexpected. Again, I talk about it, and I've said it a couple of times on this, chat that we're doing here now. Your journey is your journey. If you're promotion driven, and you're always hungry for that next belt, then I would suggest stepping back a little bit and reflecting on focusing more on the technique, on the training, on the development of your game. Bless you, Mike.
Thank you.
Don't be so focused on what the next belt is, what the next level is. And I've had people and friends within the jiu-jitsu community that are always so focused on getting the next belt. Sometimes they get bitter about, when a promotion ceremony happens, that they don't get promoted. And then that affects not only their journey, but it'll affect your training partner's journey as well, because then you're, and I hate to say it, you're becoming toxic because you're always so focused on that next belt, and I didn't get the belt, and I should have did this, and I should have gotten that, and they're holding me back, or this, that, and the other thing. And you're bringing a negativity into the environment of the school. So if that's what you're driven on is always trying to chase a belt, maybe jiu-jitsu is not the right martial art for you. So I forgot where I was going with that, but I was never expected to get the brown belt. I never, thought that it was coming. He promoted me to a brown belt, and then immediately after putting on the brown belt, I felt like, man, my training just ramped up 100% more. As a purple belt, I thought that, and just so you know, in jiu-jitsu, there's only 5 belts. There's white belt, blue belt, purple belt, brown belt, and then you reach black belt level. So as a purple belt, you're really working on developing your game and what your system will be. And in my opinion, I was just starting to feel comfortable at purple belt and having a good time at purple belt. And when I got promoted to a brown belt, so I feel like the training has definitely ramped up, and it's become, elevated as to what our training is. And as a brown belt, I think I'm hold at a different level as to what I should be doing and how I should be progressing in my game. So it's become a lot more difficult. So, and unfortunately, I just suffered an injury. So over the last like week and a half, I haven't really been able to do a lot of live rounds. But I'm just focusing on trying to get back into 100% health, which I'm really never 100% healthy. Mike knows that.
All
You
too
know, and
well.
it's just focusing on trying to get myself back to neutral so I can get back into full blown training.
Yeah. Yeah, so I appreciate that perspective, Chuck. And also the point of like, again, your journey is your journey. Like some people, and then I always put it in these like two columns too. There's like the person that's not really going to compete, right? There's the hobbyist
Right.
that, and there's black. I don't know how you feel about this, but I feel like it's an interesting question sometimes. Is like, should you be able to get a black belt without have competing before? And then there's the like people that do jiu-jitsu that will compete, but or maybe I should put it in like more than two categories, but very generally like people that are going to compete, people that are not going to compete. And then there's going to be people that progress in the ranks in both categories. Some places, from my experience, won't let you go to black belt unless you've competed before, but there are tons of places that like you show up, you're consistent, you in live rolling and training, you display, the skills, you can totally get a black belt. But I'm curious where your mind goes, Chuck, when it comes to being able to get a black belt without competing in general.
Well, I mean, I really honestly feel like everybody should go through the experience of competition at least once. And it also depends on the school as to whether or not they're going to release somebody to a black belt level without competing. That's the head instructor's decision. I know people that have never competed that do have their black belt, versus like look at Weiss, who's competed and won so many different titles. He's just on a different level, and we joke about it kind of all the time. There's levels to jiu-jitsu.
There is, bro.
So you could totally be a hobbyist black belt, but if you take a hobbyist black belt and put them against a competition black belt, the competition black belt is going to win 9 out of 10 times, right. Maybe even 10 out of 10 times. You take somebody who is a hobbyist black belt and put them against it could be a competition purple belt or a competition brown belt. Chances are the competition belt is going to win versus over the hobbyist. It all depends on what your level of commitment is. And again, we go into that level of commitment, the amount of training that you're willing to invest, because a competition training is on a completely different scale than hobbyist training. And I was a hobbyist for a long, long time. I didn't really compete until my first competition was at blue belt, and I had a terrible experience with it because I went into the tournament injured and I got re-injured in the tournament. So I didn't compete again until well into my purple belt years. But again, finding the right school, finding the right coach, finding the right training camp during all this competition time is elemental, because again, if you're not willing to invest that time into competition, into training, you're going to have a negative experience, and that could turn you off to wanting to compete more further down the road. Like now that I had a really good experience during competition, I'm going to compete again. It's a matter of timing as to when I'm going to be able to fit it in, and when I'm going to be able to commit to another camp.
Bam. So that's, I think, a key word I heard continuously is the commitment and kind of that drive and focus behind it. And I think that's also like spot on too, Chuck. Like I know one thing from my experience, even at Road, we're a no gi based school. So that means no training in the gi, but I've seen quite a few people get promoted to blue belt. I think I've only seen one person get promoted to purple belt. And that was one of the instructors that had put in like tremendous amount of effort. And I think it's interesting to see the drop off after blue belt. Like getting a blue belt in jiu-jitsu can be equivalent to like a lot of other sports potential, in my opinion, like a black belt, in the sense of depending on the school and depending on the like impact that can have. Like you become a blue belt in jiu-jitsu, you're like a superhero to the average person when it comes to like any kind of exchange. Like they'll have no idea what's going on, and you can completely control the situation. But anyways, that's kind of everything. What I did want to take a second to pause on is to show you guys, and I've mentioned this. We've sent emails about this. It's been in our newsletter. We've been like, I've been dropping this before, but Chuck's also been a huge person on that doesn't get enough credit with even helping us select, build, and package the resistance bands and everything that we do, but especially the resistance bands. I wanted to give you a second here, Chuck, and give you some credit and take a moment to acknowledge, like, one of the agencies we work with, they reached out about doing a collaboration with us, like making us what's called a plus partner, so that we would basically be a part of their portfolio, and their influences would push our products, on Amazon and all these other platforms. We're talking about like apparel line, about the resistance bands potentially, even though they already have a person or a brand that does booty bands. So there may be a little conflict with the short ones. We might do just long ones. We're going to see that. But you've been instrumental throughout this entire process for LOF coming to Lifestyle of Fitness, for making the bands, doing the apparel. So I wanted to just take a moment to acknowledge you and just be like, yeah, Chuck, but B, tell everyone we're going to have these dropping in the next 3 to 4 weeks, actually less. So you guys can check the channel for this. But I wanted to just take a second, Chuck, and get your thoughts on the resistance bands and how you feel about finally being able to have these as like a tangible product we're going to have in our portfolio too.
Well, listen, I think it's phenomenal that we're able to, supply these out, and finally have our own branded bands. A lot of people gave up on going to commercial gyms because of COVID, which is a big thing. And there's a lot of people that still don't feel comfortable going back to a commercial gym because of COVID, because of the cleanliness of the gyms, whatever it may be. And to have a set of resistance bands and a workout to go with those resistance bands, and to be able to supply that to people and have you guys do an in-home workout where you're comfortable in your own home, it's your own equipment, you can clean it at your pace, and is to have a guided workout to go with it. I think it's phenomenal. It's a game changer. We talked about it for quite some time. So listen, even if you do go to a commercial gym and you're constantly going to a commercial gym, get a set of these bands to have at home, because even just to get some stretching in with the bands, some movement with the bands while you're at home. I have a whole rack of bands in my gym at my house, and I'm using them constantly. It's like one of the top things that I could suggest for anybody to have as a piece of workout equipment in their home.
But yeah, and then one of the things I wanted to highlight as well is the bands by themselves are an extremely versatile option. They're travel friendly. That's why it's like, to your point, Chuck, being able to, whether you're staying at home, even on the complete other extreme end of it, traveling. We have a lot of clients that travel and Chuck, as someone that spent, how many years did you travel? You would go to overseas, you go to Europe, right? Like how much were you traveling?
Let's not talk about it. Like 40 to 45% of my year was traveling international somewhere. And I mean, that's ultimately how Mike and I ended up hooking up, because when I was traveling, I wasn't able to work out. And I didn't even put 2 and 2 together to just pack a set of bands with me and be able to get some workouts in the hotel room. I would always try to just, in my mind, be like, oh yeah, I'll be able to go to the gym. Yeah. And when you're traveling, really, you're going to be able to break off of, your conference, your meetings, your whatever it is that you're doing, to be able to get some time for yourself to go to the gym. Yeah. It's hard. Almost impossible. But to be able to pack a set of bands with you and just go on your phone and watch the guided workout and just be able to do it with the bands, it's a game changer.
That's exactly it. And then, oh, hey, Rosemary. What's going on? Rosemary says, hey, by the way, Chuck.
Hey, Rosemary.
So one of the things I wanted to piggyback on that, and then this is where we take it to another level. So we got the travel, we got the home. Now, let's say you already have, you're like, Mike, but I got dumbbells, or I got kettlebells, or I got a barbell. I already got this stuff. Or let's even say you have a gym membership. You go to, I don't know, and you name the commercial gym. Here's what I would invite you guys to think about. What I like about bands as well is they're also what we call variable or accommodating resistance, which is a fancy way of saying we can add more resistance onto the workout, but the max resistance is going to be at the end of the lift where you're the strongest, where you can hold the most weight. And then as you lower it, let's just say as a bench press, as I'm lowering it, the weight's coming off or lowering a bit. So you can really push your body and push it with physics kind of on your side. So even like I'm highlighting a barbell we have. I just got this barbell in. Like I literally just got a package right here with it. I didn't even get to unbox it yet. But adding the bands to your barbell lifts for progressions there, or for kettlebells for increasing the intensity or even some of the explosive power dynamics of it. Or if with your dumbbells, there's a lot of cool, variables where you can combine this to even more equipment and increase the challenge. Landmine. Also, Chuck, we've talked about landmine training quite a bit, and there's a lot of adaptations you can make, like even the home gym I have behind me, which we're going to be doing a Black Friday workout. I just got an email from the team. I literally got 12 items. We got bumper plates, we got barbell, we got dumbbells, we got gloves, we got all these cool things. We're going to be doing a live workout on Black Friday, and I'm going to add in the resistance bands. And
how come I wasn't invited to work out to the Black Friday workout, Mike?
Chuck, this is where you get your special invite. Now the downside is they've requested a very specific time. They want 12:30 p.m. Eastern time, 9:30 a.m. or I'm sorry, a.m. not p.m. or a.m. Pacific Standard Time. So that's like noon.
Works for me.
So
works for me, Mike.
That means Chuck's going to be joining us for our at-home workout. We're going to be doing barbell. We're going to be using dumbbell. We're going to add the bands to it, so you guys will get a really good idea about how they can apply, especially if you guys already have some equipment, and then also the travel-friendly nature and component to it.
So Mike,
yeah, I'm really excited.
You were explaining end range movements, and a lot of people are like, I have no clue what you're talking about. You said landmine, you said all these different things. So just to break it down a little bit for everybody, just imagine doing a push-up, but then putting the strap in your hand and lining it up around your back and then holding it in your other hand. So when you're doing the push-up and you're coming down on the lowest point, when there's no contraction in any of your muscles, that band is loose. And then when you contract into the rep and you start pushing yourself up, the band gets tighter. So at your end range of your movement, there's more resistance coming into what you're doing. Exactly. So this will end up developing a lot more strength and power for you because you're adding resistance to your end range of your movement. And there's multiple things that you can do and multiple exercises, not just the push-up, that you can do with those resistance bands. So if you have a set of dumbbells at home and you're like, you know what, I've been using these dumbbells for quite some time and my workouts kind of get a little stagnant because I'm not willing to invest in another pair of dumbbells, you add the resistance bands. And when you add those resistance bands, you're adding more end range resistance to your workout. So now your 15-pound dumbbells just became 25 or 30-pound dumbbells.
Bingo. And that's, again, even I think this is what I think of. I go back to it. So I'm going to highlight, I was going to show this heated neck stretcher and traction kind of device, but we're going to get to that because we'll save that for post-workout. I'm going to go back to the dumbbells here for a second. So to your point, Chuck, I have a set of adjustable dumbbells in the carousel. They go from 11 to 55 pounds. So let's say, and 55 pounds can be good, but especially for a guy like Chuck or anyone that's building up their home gym and you max out your dumbbell set, the cool thing is, you don't have to, spend hundreds of dollars to get more weight. You could we're going to have our 10-pack set for $55. It's going to be like a special when we have it up. And then we're going to have even individual pairs for sale, starting at like $7.50 for our starting pair. And it's going to go up from there. And being able to have like, you know what? I only want to add like 20 pounds of resistance to this. Cool. You could spend, instead of spending $55, which isn't crazy, or $150 for a whole nother set of dumbbell and just single dumbbell even. And that wouldn't even be the 55s. That would just be going up to like 25. So it's usually $2 per pound on resistance is the added weight. Then with resistance bands, it's like a fraction of that. It's like 50 cents or somewhere around that range, 50 cents, like maybe 70 cents per pound of resistance. So it's a way more cost-effective option as well from an economic standpoint. I just realized I have someone coming by to buy some bumper plates later today. Let's count. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. I have about 16 pairs of 35-pound bumper plates. I don't need 16 pairs of 35-pound bumper plates. Let's be real.
35-pound bumper plates? Who uses 35s, Mike?
Yeah. So here's the thing. So everyone loves 45s, right? 45s and 10s are like the two most popular weights. So I've sold out of all the 45s. I got a couple of 10s, a couple of 15s, 25s, and 35s. So I'm like, you know what? I'm only going to use 35s. I'm going to keep like 10 of those for me, or I'm sorry, 5 pairs. So about 10 of those out of the 16 pairs. And then the rest I'm just going to get rid of and be like, hey, I'll even do a sale for you guys. But yeah, the 35s are now just going to be like a new miscellaneous. So if you guys see me with a bunch of content, like, why are you going up in like 70-pound increments? I'm like, well, that's why. Now you know.
Mike's gonna have to be breaking out the calculator because it's all new math.
Like, what is 35, 70, 40, but yeah, Chuck. So honestly, this is a sponsor stream for an hour and a half. So yeah, I have like another 20 minutes. You've got a busy day, I imagine. You've got a lot of things going on. So I don't want to assume you're gonna even hang out. Like, I'm surprised you made it for an hour in like 5. You've been chilling for a long time, Chuck.
Mike,
so I want to check in. How you doing on time?
When I allocate time to something, I'm good. Don't worry about it.
I know. I always like to make sure though, so that if you need to, you can always handle your business. But I know you'll say that too. So what I do want to highlight though is we have a really cool Kufandi men's shirt. So since Chuck and I are both wearing our button-ups, I thought it'd be a great time to highlight our button-up shirt. And I wanted to like talk about this with you, Chuck, because I've mentioned it last week. I started wearing suits like every day during like Monday through Friday. I'm just like wearing suits. And then, hey, Mike, drop your link.
Is there a reason why you're wearing suits, Mike?
Yes. So there's a psychology to this, right? Well, there's a few reasons. One, we have a sponsor named Express, like the clothing company. So I'm like, you know what? I don't like, I like shop at, like, Express is one of my favorite stores. I like Kufandi as well, that I've highlighted right now. They're another great brand that we have here on Amazon. I was like, I realized I don't wear enough of like the casual, business casual kind of stuff. I'm always in like sweatpants, fitness stuff, because I'm training clients or working out, and it's easy to stay comfortable in that attire. And then even ever since I went to, Vegas and gone through the, emotional intelligence and leadership stuff, and feedback I got from quite a few people was like, hey man, like, you seem to like, you could show up even better, meaning like from an outside external perspective. And then once I started wearing it last week, I realized I feel good. Like, I feel nice wearing like suits and like button ups and vests and like a 3-piece or like a tie or whatever, get my slacks on. So tell me more, Chuck. What are you going to say?
I mean, like, there's a mental psychology about getting ready, getting up. If you, we hate to say, if you dress for success, you will have success. So if you're constantly just getting up and throwing your gym clothes on and being comfortable, you're not breaking out of your comfort zone to reach that next level. Now, from the adverse, I wore suits to work every day for 20 years of my career. So now I don't have to wear a suit anymore. I still get up, I still dress in business casual type of attire, but I'm not wearing suits anymore, pal.
And here's the thing too. It's like, you're at a place in your life, you have certain patterns and habits created for yourself. I'm working on developing new. So part of my morning routine is when I wake up early, not only do I meditate and journal, but then I make sure, instead of just like showering and throwing on sweats, I'll shower, put on, and take the time to dress up. And because it takes a little bit longer, like an extra 5 or so minutes, it gives me a sense of, I don't want to say, I'm going to say urgency for lack of a better, like, it's almost like I have to get up. I can't kind of mess around.
Yeah, no, absolutely.
You know what I mean? Like, I need to make sure I'm planning for that time, especially when I meditate. Now, every once in a while, I will, like, the girls, like we've talked about this, they've waken up at like 4 in the morning. So that throws everything off. And so I'll meditate with them and journal with them, and they'll just kind of help me. And it's adorable to watch Lena and Tessa try and meditate with me, because they'll do like one breath and then they just like dip out and they just run and then they come back and then like,
go on.
Yeah. But they'll at least try and Tessa will use her hands. She'll do this. She'll
bring it up and bring it down. Yep. Yeah. Inhale, exhale. I'm out.
Yeah, and then just run. And then hold on. Chris is saying, drop your link in live community with both channels. Can you help my friend Mike? Oh, thanks, man, for like, Chris is just giving us shout outs on the other like community channels and stuff. But nice. Yeah, and I'll drop the link too. I appreciate that, Chris.
That's awesome. Thank you.
Yeah, man. So the point, going back to it, is like having the like structure and routine in my day, but also how I feel about myself, feel good, how I show up. Then there's like 2 other reasons. A, how other people see me, like even just walking into the gym, man, and the vibe that comes with that is weird
Yeah.
as it sounds. Like people look at you kind of different, or they're like
1,000,000%.
double take.
People will look, but like when I do that now, if I come in a suit to work, everybody will be like, dude, are you going on a job interview somewhere?
Like,
Where are you going? Why are you dressed up like that?
Yeah, what's wrong?
Yeah, but if you give off the element of success, you know, again, it breeds the environment around you. So if you're dressing up, you're feeling better. People are going to be looking at you differently. I'm sure, you know, when you're dressed up more, people will be coming up to you for advice more often. It happens, you know, versus wearing, you know, your yoga pants and a tank top, Mike.
Yeah, 100%.
You know, it definitely is going to make you feel better than what, you know, just wearing a just general pair of sweatpants. Because what do you do when you put your sweatpants on? You chill out on the couch, right? And you're just hanging out on the couch. I've got a fire alarm going off at work right now.
I was gonna say, is that your side or is that Ashley watching something?
I appreciate everybody, and I'm gonna bail because now I got to go run and deal with this. So
yeah, Chuck, appreciate you, dude. I'm
thanks,
gonna hang
everybody.
out.
Talk to you.
All right, y'all. So we got the man, the myth, the legend, Chuck, hanging out with us. I got about 10, 15 more minutes, guys. So I'll start to bring it home. And then, Chris, I appreciate you dropping that. Thanks for everybody dropping questions and hanging. Hope you guys enjoyed. I've actually got some other products here that I wanted to save to unbox. Like, for example, I got our Star Projector, which I had highlighted before. Let me pull it up. Here we go. And I haven't even done my Shopple video yet. We already unboxed it, but I put it back in the box so you guys can kind of see. So boom, we open this puppy up. Now this is one, what's cool about this, not like, and they're always usually going to come with that instruction manual and make you feel good and secure with what you're doing and making it pretty seamless with setting it up. Now for us, the cool thing about this is you can sync up your phone. It has Bluetooth integration to it. So not only will it play like lights, or I'm sorry, it'll display the lights, I should say, but this will also, boom. Oh, Ashley like put this in legit. She like taped it up and everything. Shout out to my wife, Ashley. So this is going to be the display component right here on top. You can charge it on the back end. That's what we're going to plug into play. Now, you don't have to use the remote or a Bluetooth integration. You can actually just manually use the buttons right here on front if you want to deal with that. And then Ryan said he would follow you, Mike. Oh, sweet. Yeah, Ryan. I don't know who Ryan is, but I appreciate that, homie. And being able to throw the handle on here, you throw that right here on the top part. So if you want to grab it and carry. The other component is the cable that's coming with it to charge it in, which I'll do right now. Boom. And again, the Bluetooth integration allows you to not only play just the music it comes installed, but you can play any kind of music that you want, which I think is cool. So if you want to put on a playlist, like I'm not even using this for my kids. I mean, I am using it for my kids, but I'm not just using it with them. I'm using it for me as well and for my wife. I like it even with the meditation in the morning or being able in the evening, if I'm having a hard time falling asleep, putting this on with like a nice zoning meditative music playlist that helps you just kind of relax and stay calm. So it doesn't have to just be for the kids. This is a great option for them, especially with our kids. Like last night was a great example. They were really, really not feeling it. Now, what I will also notice, guys, so I'm curious, you have this experience. Oh, I just turned it on. If you'll have this experience as well, is they will. So now you can see how it's blinking. It's on. Sometimes when the lights come on, though, even if it's just like relaxing, hi, live stream on Amazon is live shopping community, Mike. What? Oh, his live stream on Amazon. Oh, cool. Cool. Yeah, Chris, if you want to, can you drop the link there, or do you want me to go in and drop it? I appreciate that, dude. Because yeah, we're getting close to the 2,000 follower mark. I'm at 1,400 and. See, 1,418, I believe. All right, so let's turn this puppy on.
Power it off.
Or I'm sorry, I just powered it off. Let's power it on. So you guys can
Bluetooth mode.
Oh, yeah, Bluetooth mode. So now let's sync it up to the phone. I'm going to sync up with my phone on the Bluetooth now. And again, this thing is like, I I like the sizing and the space of it. It doesn't take up a tremendous amount of space, but you know it's there, so you don't are going to lose it. Oh, look at that. So now let's see if I can play some music. It should. Look at that. So again, you can sync up with Bluetooth the audio component. And now what I can do as well is, look at that. We can turn the lights on. So I got the lights going. We got the music playing. Let's see if I can even change it and cycle it. You can change different light options. Super, super cool, man. I'm really excited about this for not only, again, my kids, but for my wife and I in our nighttime routine, which again, I go back to a healthy lifestyle. Being able to have a good sleep routine and sleep hygiene is essential and really impactful for your overall health. Because if you're sleep deprived, you're not getting consistent 7 to 9 hours of sleep every night, you're going to have an increase in your ghrelin levels, which is produced in your gut. And that's a hormone that's going to make you hungry. And then if that's constantly being produced or having excess levels, guess what? If you're constantly hungry, eventually you're going to eat more calories. You're going to probably end up putting on excess body composition. And it's going to make it more challenging to hit your goals, depending on what they are. Unless your goal is to just like not be at your best. Then not sleeping is a good part of that. All right. With that being said, let's see what else we got here, y'all. So we got any lightning deals? That is Ryan's stream. Got it. Oh, and I just got the space heater in too. I gotta unbox that bad boy. We're gonna do a video on that. We got our jump rope. Let's see which jump rope I have. I have 2 different packages of jump ropes. I believe this is the double. We got the 2-pack by Redify. Again, jump rope, man. This is, again, if I had to pick $100 kind of starter pack for like building a home gym, and Chuck and I built a 3-part series specifically on that. Jump rope would be on there. So for $10 to get 2 pairs of jump rope, boom, that's like such a great deal, y'all. I would do jump rope, resistance bands, foam roller, and a smartwatch. That would probably be my top like 5 picks. That would probably be around $100. So because our resistance band set will be $50. So then plus 10, that's 60. Foam roller is going to be another 10, 15. So you got 70, 75. Leaves you just enough. You can get a sale. Especially with Black Friday, you could definitely get a sale on a smartwatch for like 20, 30-ish dollars and put right at the $100 mark. That would be my biggest suggestion. If you're building out a home gym kind of routine and setup, you want to do it for $100 or less, those would be my products. I would get jump rope. I would get the LOF resistance bands. They're not actually available yet, so that's the only downside. You're going to have to wait another month, about 2 to 4 weeks. But that's the jump rope. Let's look at a couple things when it comes to jump rope, because there's a length component. And the way you want to measure if it's the right length, you're going to step on it, and then you're going to try and bring it up to your armpits. You want it to go roughly to about your armpits. That's the proper length for your jump rope. And then I like the grip here. That's a nice little like non-slide, it feels like, grip. That's an important piece to be mindful of, okay, is to make sure you're not going to have it sweat and fly out of your hands. I'll be doing a video and some B-roll and shoppables on that. I'll even do a demo workout probably with that. And again, so I'm not going to probably be streaming the rest of the week, or maybe I will. I don't know. We'll see. We'll see, guys. My original game plan was to not stream tomorrow, Wednesday, and Thursday, and then stream Friday, Saturday, Sunday, Monday for Black Friday into Cyber Monday, and just trying to help, homie. I appreciate that, Chris. I really do, man. But if you guys say like, hey, because I figure people are going to be traveling, it may not be, as on the streaming. We'll see how the stream does. But that's kind of my thoughts, y'all. Let's actually see something. Meditate. Gratitude. Every day. Attitude. All right, so we got boom, boom. All right, so that one's good for that. Yeah, so we got about 5 more minutes, y'all. And yeah, I might have like pop-up streams for the next couple of days if I just have some extra sponsor stuff coming in. Just trying to help you. Or maybe I'll do one at the gym. I'm not sure, y'all. But I'm really excited because Black Friday, not only we have another sponsored Wahoo stream, but we're going to do a sponsored workout, like adjustable dumbbell and bumper plate stream with one of our new sponsors. Then we're going to do another sponsored Alpha Grind stream. So that'll be a really good one. Going over, again, the brain boosting components. They're going to have some coffee they're going to be sending me. So we're going to do content on that. What else? Workout. Yeah, we got that. And yeah, I'm just really excited. Can you find the stream and drop your link? Yeah, let me pull it up. What is it? It's community shopping, right? Let's see if we got community shopping live. There we go. Okay, I see Ryan. Let's do a little screen share. Let's plug Ryan here.
Oh, he does. I like them recruiters. Becky 1970, how many days this week are you working?
There we go. We're dropping it. We're dropping it. Go check Ryan out, guys. I'm about to finish up here in a couple minutes, so if you want to go check it out. Ryan, he is the live shopping community here on Amazon. Go check him out. Boom.
So, Becky,
Let's see what else we got.
do
Ooh,
my show every morning, every weekday morning, Monday to Friday.
I'm gonna-
I do the show, that's why I love my there's a number of remote workers that just kind of stop by and hang out. I talk about a lot of different products and do some different things throughout the course of the week for the shows, but I talk a lot about desk chairs, monitors, keyboards, printers, stuff like that. But I asked you a question of the day, and you can kind of see that down below. That I asked you for two reasons. One, it provides a way for regular friends of the show to jump in and easily participate in a slightly different conversation. We don't have to talk about the same thing. And the other reason it provides a way for newcomers to the show, like you, like, you easily just jump in and participate in the conversation. Answer that question. I was just kind of curious this week, how many work days are most people working? I know if you work in retail, it might be all 5 days of the week. A lot of other people, I don't know, do people work on Fridays? Most people get Thursday off. But I don't know if they work on the Friday. Some people get the Wednesday off or off beforehand. I don't know. So I was just kind of curious to get an answer for that. So that's, what do you do with that number? You just tell me the number, whether it is 0. Willie up above, he said 0 because he's retired. We've got a lot of people that say they're working Monday, Tuesday, and Wednesday this week. Hey, Coach Mike says, yeah, right. Hey, Coach Mike. Amazon customer one, Chris was around here trying to talk about you. So, Coach Mike is another live stream around here. Talks, do a lot more stuff about fitness. I don't know what have you been doing lately. Coach Mike, I've not been watching your stream as other people. I just have other things going on. So, how are things going, Coach Mike? Are you all fired up for the slide starter? Coach Mike, send out your link in the chat if people can go there and follow you. Becky says, yes, I'm a remote worker. And I got that is my friend Ryan. Yep, that is Coach Mike. I know we were talking about the Coach Mike. Others who named people up that I do not know that as well. Yeah, same. Becky, 2, Becky said 3. That's because of the holiday. Like, I know. Yeah, a lot of people.
All right, guys. So I'm going to screen share Ryan's live stream. Go check him out. I'll put the link. Whoop. Put the link for his in my chat as well. Go check him out.
I don't know. So it was kind of a curiosity question. I think 3 is common. 0 was only for Willie. He was retired, so he did not really work. Good 5 years. All right. And as I got to move on, and personally, how does that mean? Coach, like said, Ryan, when you say live streaming is remote work, I consider myself a remote worker, Coach Mike, I guess. I work in my basement most of the time. So that's what my office is there. So yeah, I guess. But I don't, there's anywhere else I guess I could rent an office or go to a co-working space and things like that. I've thought about this, but it never really happened. Traveling and going around and doing my show for different parts of the world. I don't know if that idea is ever going to happen. A year and a half ago, I thought it was going to
All right, guys. So I'm going to finish up my stream here, y'all. I will catch you guys later. Go check out Ryan's live stream and cheers, y'all.